Welcome to the Armchair podcast. My name is Zach Leslie, and I'm joined always by my wonderful co-host Alex Chi. And later in the show, we will be joined by South Bend Tribune writer Kari Thompson talking about some Bears draft stuff. Um, Bears schedule just released today, so we'll talk to him about that as well and some of his season expectations. But for now, it's just me and Alex. So, Alex, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great, man. How are you, man?
Hanging in there. Mark Smith's going to Mizzou, so
Oh, great, yeah.
that doesn't
Well,
make me
yeah.
feel terrific. But other than that, I'm okay. But back to Mark Smith stuff, man. I think some people expected this. I expected it just because it's so Illinois over the last few years. Um, but what do you think? Does Mark have? Is Mark still good at basketball? Like he was so bad last year. Like I don't want to
Man,
hate on the kid, but man, he was
yeah.
terrible.
So in terms of him just going to Mizzou, I thought that was definitely the expected location. I
Yeah,
knew with his family being the reason that he was sort of pushed out of Illinois,
yeah,
I knew that he was going to go somewhere close and somewhere that recruited him before. So when I saw schools such as Creighton or Boston College or Nevada making those moves on him, I thought, okay, he's not going to go there. He wants to go somewhere that's familiar, somewhere that's close to home,
yeah.
so his parents can be as involved as they want to be.
That's
So
so true.
Mizzou was the logical choice. You know, him and Coach Martin have a long relationship too.
Yeah,
So it all made sense for that point. But anytime in Illinois, anytime anyone goes to Mizzou, I'm not gonna like you.
yeah, yeah. That's where
That's
I'm
our
at
rival
here.
school. Yeah, like that's our rival school. I mean, I'm not gonna hate on the kid because he did what's best for him, and if I
Yeah,
were him, I probably would have went to the same place too. But that doesn't mean that I can't not like you, you know?
yeah,
And I think every Illinois deserves that sort of hate for, not hate, but dislike of
yeah.
the
And I
kid.
think Mizzou fans kind of read it as like we don't
You know what?
support Mark anymore.
Forget
And
Mizzou fans.
I'm like,
Man,
I wish the best for Mark Smith, but that doesn't mean
yeah.
I have to root for him when he's playing in a Mizzou uniform.
These are the same dang Mizzou fans who are saying like, "Oh, you guys got Mark Smith and he's not very good. Like he's like a not a good talent, all that stuff. Like, oh, Mr. Basketball, so what?" And then once he commits to Mizzou, they're all like, "Oh, he's going to be amazing. He's the next big thing." Mizzou fans are so up and down with their stuff. They don't ever support their notions with facts, and it just
Yeah,
that's
and
that's an episode's worth of a
what
video.
I love,
Yeah,
I tweeted this out when the day that the Mark Smith news came out. He's going to be sitting on the bench during the Bragging Rights game because he has to sit out a year. He's going to be
yeah.
sitting on the bench watching Trent Frazier and Ayo Dosunmu combine for 80 points. And
Hopefully,
he's going to be sitting there. Trent Frazier is going to pull an Allen Iverson and step over Ty Lue. I have one of those moments right in front of Mark Smith's face. And it's going to be
hopefully not.
so glorious.
But
And
no,
I just want
yeah.
that to happen. I just want Mizzou fans to lose their mind that they can't beat Illinois basketball. No matter who they put on their team, they cannot do it.
Like, let's be real. Mizzou had a better season than Illinois.
Yeah, but they
I'm not
still
gonna sit
lost
here
to
saying that.
Illinois.
Oh, like, and you can argue that Mizzou is in a better place now than Illinois is, but you never know. Like, until the actual season starts, we can never tell. And Mizzou fans never back their points up with other than with concrete facts. They just sort of say, "Oh, like we're better. We have this," and they just say the accomplishment that happened without looking at a broader scope, which really pisses me off. But
Yeah.
shout out to Ms. Chris 17 or whatever. I doubt you're listening, but
Oh, we just added
man,
him, bro. Oh man,
man,
the
like
beef.
you stink, bro. Get off our Twitter. But I mean, that sort of goes into our point. If do you think Mark Smith still has good basketball left in him?
I think I, I don't know, man, because
Yeah,
his highlight tape, he was dunking on people. He was pulling up from 5 feet behind the line, which he still did at Illinois, but he missed them all.
he
And
bricked.
then like he comes here and he it looks like he has like a 4 inch vertical. He can't do anything. Like I was like,
Nah,
okay,
yeah.
I know he was only really good at basketball for like 4 months, but I still expected him to be good at Illinois for some reason.
To be honest, I think he had a normal freshman year. There was just so
Yeah,
much hype around this kid being the next Frank Williams, the next D Brown, what have you, to
yeah,
be that savior right away. And then
and
it didn't help that he started off really well, scoring 21 points against DePaul and
yeah,
sort of looking the part of that alpha male that Illinois basketball is so desperately needed. And then
yeah,
once he started facing bigger competition, he struggled. And that's normal for a freshman. And defensively, he was not very good at all. And I think that was sort of what put the dagger in his confidence to start. And then it just took a spiral downwards because he struggled with the flu. His ball handling wasn't very good. So Underwood took him off the ball. His mom kept saying, or not kept saying, but said that Mark needs the ball in his hands, etc. He needs to run the point. He needs
he
to be a
had the
guard. He's not a
chance.
wing. But he was given that opportunity
Yeah,
and he wasn't very good.
yeah,
So you don't blame Underwood for removing him off of that position because he wasn't very good. I don't think Illinois did anything wrong with Mark Smith. I think he had a normal freshman year. He had to adjust. And hey, like at Edwardsville High School, he had the ball in his hands at all times. He was
yep,
the go-to guy. He was the best player on the team. And when you come to a Big Ten program as a freshman, that's not going to happen.
yeah.
You have to adjust to that. And, it goes to my point of Malcolm Hill was not good freshman year.
No, he was not.
He
They
averaged
didn't.
like 4 points. He barely played half the season.
Yeah,
So, there's an adjustment. I thought Mark was going to get better with time. I didn't think he was going to be a two and done like some people thought he would be.
yeah,
But I thought, with time, with adjustment, some time with Fletch, getting more comfortable, sort of restarting, playing with some better players like Ayo Dosunmu, whoever else was going to come in the 2018 class, it would have helped him a lot. But I think, if anything, Coach Martin, Conzo Martin runs a system that, whatever system that is, it's a system that
a
fits
lack thereof.
a
That's,
lack thereof, right? Because when I heard that Mark Smith first committed to Brad Underwood, I was elated, as most people were.
yeah, yeah. I was excited.
But
I
I,
watched the
I
commitment on
also
my computer.
oh yeah, same here. I watched it on my phone in the library, and I did a fist pump in the library, and everyone. Anyways, but I thought that okay, Underwood runs kind of a different system. It's a spread offense. There's no set ball handler. He's gonna have to play off the ball. If he committed to John Gross, which I'm sure he would have, based off of what I read, what I was hearing, he probably would have had the ball in his hands. John Gross doesn't really run a specific offense or whatever offense he runs. He probably would have had the ball in his hands because, Illinois needed guards and Trent, Mark Smith, T-John, they would have had the ball in their hands instead of having it spread out, hitting cutters, putting it into the big's hands, things like that. So I think it's a better fit, as much as I hate to say it, in Conzo Martin's system than Underwood's. But, all the power to him. We don't have to worry about, oh, is Mark Smith going to be good?
Yeah,
All we have to do is focus on our team,
yep.
hope that Io doesn't sort of follow the same. I don't think Io will.
Yeah, I
I think
don't.
the two paths are really different.
Yeah, and Io's playing in like Jordan games, and
Oh yeah,
he's been Iverson Classic this week. Like Io's a
yeah,
different level. Mark came on late, didn't play AAU ball, didn't do a lot of the things that normal top high school kids do. Um, and I think too, he didn't benefit from Trent Frazier taking the reins. Because even going into last year, I thought Trent Frazier would come off the bench. Um, but then he just came on and didn't stop. And that didn't help Mark either. I don't think Mark expected Trent to be that good, and I don't think Mark's dad expected Trent Frazier to be that good. And I don't think a lot of people expected Trent to do what he did. Dropped 30 points in a game, which for a freshman is just insane. Um, and I think that's all that combined just didn't help Mark at all. So I think I hope he does well at Mizzou.
yeah.
But he was just so bad, man. And I know he's just a freshman, and I expected him to get better with time. But to see him bail after 1 year is just kind of
Yeah, like I
disappointing to me.
said, he had a normal freshman year. He needed some time, but his parents thought it would be best for him just to make the move right away. They didn't see
Yeah,
a foreseeable future in Underwood's system. And, it goes to my point that I made on Twitter is don't hate on the parents. You don't know this. You don't know
Yeah,
the
yeah,
kids.
yeah.
Don't say, oh, it's bad parenting or Mark is a weak kid. You don't know the whole situation.
Exactly.
We don't need to get personal like that. So,
Yeah,
wish the kid the best of luck. Obviously hope that he doesn't play well against Illinois. I'm sure he will have his games where you're just like, dang, okay, where was that at Illinois? But it's over. Let's move on.
yeah.
There's
That's kind of where I'm at with it too. So we're gonna move on from Mark Smith. If you want to talk more about Mark Smith, find someone else to do it because I'm kind of burnt out about it already. Um, but in other news, there's a visitor on campus this weekend.
Yep.
Um, a big man that a lot of people compare to Thomas Walkup, which comparisons are fair. But it's another official visit that Illinois has to use on someone I'm not sure we're going to get. So that doesn't make me feel too great
Yeah.
because Illinois doesn't have many official visits left. Um, so, Alex, what's your opinion on this golden kid, and what could he bring if he were to commit, and where are you at with the official visit situation?
He's the golden boy, huh?
Yeah, the golden boy.
Well, I'll get to the official visit sort of number in a second, but I really like Bryce Golden. I think he is, as most of the Illinois recruits that we have in this class, a little underrated. He was committed to Pitt, and he was committed pretty early, so I think maybe that's why scouts didn't really look that much into him. And Pitt is awful, so I can see why he's not that highly rated. But I think he's a great fit. You watch his workouts and some of his game film, and he does remind you of a taller Thomas Walkup. He's
Yeah,
tough. He's a face-up four. They could shoot the three. He's not an elite shooter, but he's a good shooter for his size. He's a decent athlete, and you can put him on different spots in the floor, and he can be successful. And he's tough, which I heard is something that Underwood really loves. And I just think he's a good fit, but it just worries me with the class balance because
yeah,
you don't want to have 7 or 8 newcomers. That's obviously you want to win now, but like you're not going to have any flexibility once you come to 2019. And I'm sure there's a group of guys other than the two most notable names in E.J. Liddell and Francis Okoro that Underwood and staff want to go after. And if you don't have that flexibility and you don't have any scholarships, is taking a Bryce Golden, who's a 3-star recruit, worth it if you have to pass up on, an attainable top 100 talent? And again, I'm not a ranking slave, but those are some tough decisions to make.
yeah. I totally agree, and especially with guys in the 19 class. And I've heard Okoro may reclassify, so you may be looking at if he came to Illinois. I mean, this class is already huge, with 5 or 6 guys in it, and then adding maybe Golden and Okoro. That's like 7 dudes somehow that are going to fit on that team. I'm not sure.
Yeah, definitely. So going to the official visit number. So to explain it lightly, I know some people on Twitter were kind of confused when I said if you miss on Bryce Golden, that hurts.
Yeah, it does
So
hurt.
I think people don't really know that in a span of 2 years after a staff is hired, you get 24 official visits
Yeah.
based off of NCAA rules. And currently this year, including Bryce, we've had 17 visits.
Holy cow!
Okay.
That's
So
got what,
yeah,
5 guys that I've signed. 6?
yeah, and you don't have that many that you've
Gosh.
completely hit on. So there's some like I keep making fun of this name, a Lucas Kasunas, who had no chance of
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
this guy was following UConn players on his official visit to Illinois. He made an Instagram and all he did was follow UConn players. And then he committed to UConn right after his visit. So, there's some visits that you just sort of threw down the drain. And if you don't get Bryce Golden, that's another official visit wasted. And
Yeah.
I know that I'm sure Underwood's not done with recruiting this year. I know if you don't get Bryce Golden, you definitely want to get a 5th-year transfer at the very least.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're going to have to spend an official visit on that. That puts you up to 18 total visits this year.
Yeah.
That's 6 visits left. And I'm sure there's another big man target that's thinking about reclassifying to the 2018 class.
Yeah.
Based off of what I heard on the Warner show and Tane Karp. Francis Okoro might be reclassifying to that 2018 class. So obviously he's close by. He's from Normal, Illinois, which is about an hour away from Champaign. So you can kind of fleece him into doing an unofficial visit. But
Yeah,
what does that say to a kid when
you
you
give
you, you give him an unofficial visit? You don't bring him in on your dime, but you will bring in a Lucas Kasunis or someone
yeah
like that on an official. I mean, obviously circumstances are different,
yeah yeah
but
from a kid's perspective.
yeah, exactly. So I'm sure they're going to use up another 2 visits at the very least. That leaves you with 5 visits for the 2019 class. And, there's a couple that you're pretty sure that you're going to take with EJ Liddell. I'm sure you're going to try to get him on an official. Khalil Whitney,
Yeah,
some guards. So I just don't know how it's all going to work out. I'm sure Underwood
it,
has a plan, but it's just if you're going to bring a kid in on an official visit at this stage with so little visits left, you better have a good chance of getting him. And I'm not sure that's the case with Bryce Golden.
yeah, I'm right there with you. And also, if Illinois is not prepared to handle another year like the one they had this year, if that were to happen next year, if they use most of their official visits left in the fall, you have, let's say, 2 official visits left in the spring. And let's say some of your freshmen aren't happy, Mark Smith. And then, if you're stuck in a similar situation, and you only have 2 official visits left, you're not able to handle it the same way.
Exactly. Because what if you're not good this year? Then are you going to go through another roster turnover?
Yeah, exactly.
So, but I guess that's why they get paid the big bucks.
Yeah.
It's just kind of strange from a logistical point of view.
Yeah, it
But we'll
definitely
see.
is.
I think Illinois has a shot with Bryce Golden. Obviously, I think people thought Syracuse was the leader, but then he's off his official visit and he didn't commit. At least that's what we think. And he's here now.
Yeah.
And I think this is his last visit. So, there's some signs, but I just hope he's not that kid that took the official visit and made his decision to Syracuse and then he's like, "Oh, I need some love from Illinois. Maybe let's see what
Yeah.
happens." So, we'll see.
Yeah. And we talked about this earlier, but we're going to officially let the people know. We're going to try to start a new segment on this show called Take a Seat. And basically what it's going to be is a mailbag segment of the show where we take questions from you all and try to answer them on this show so you can have more interaction with us. And we have one question tonight. Well, kind of 2, but we'll just answer the big one here, then maybe touch on the other one in a few seconds. But Jason Lerner, not Jeremy Werner, but Jason Lerner on Twitter asks, Coach Underwood has said that Illinois has always been his dream job. Is there any reason to believe that once he achieves big success here, he will use as a stepping stone like others have?
Go
Go
ahead.
Okay, I'll go first. Personally, I think no, because if he does have big success here, then hopefully there's no other stepping stone, if that makes sense. So, hopefully, if he does have huge success here, Illinois would be a stepping stone for someone else. That's the dream, anyway.
Yeah.
That Illinois would be able to be one of those big schools.
Yeah.
A blue blood. I mean, Underwood may not be able to get it there, but hopefully that's what everyone wants.
Oh, yeah.
So I would say I don't think he would see this job as a stepping stone for him.
Yeah.
Although he has hopped around a lot.
Yeah, definitely.
But I feel pretty comfortable in saying that I don't feel like this is a stepping stone for him. I feel like he's
Definitely.
pretty comfortable with Illinois where he's at. Obviously, some more losing seasons, he might be stepping a different direction, like John Gross did.
Yeah.
But I feel pretty comfortable in saying that Underwood's right where he needs to be.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. I think looking at it, he has a family. He has 2 daughters, and one of them is about to start college next year.
Yeah.
And then the other one's in high school, I believe. But looking at Underwood's track record, in 2012, he left Kansas State to join Frank Martin's staff in South Carolina. And then in 2013, he left that job to go to Stephen F. Austin for 3 years, and then he went to Oklahoma State for a year, and now he's at Illinois. So he's bounced around 5 different places in the last 5-6 years. So I don't know if he wants to. Obviously, what do I know? I'm not a part of his family, but I don't know if he wants to keep bouncing around. Obviously, he says it's his dream job, and I think that Illinois. This is going to sound really biased, but it's a sleeping giant.
Yeah.
And if you can get this program bumping and to the point where you're winning games and being relevant, let's say in the Maui tournament, you end up winning a couple games. I think this is a job that can be one of the better jobs in the Big Ten and in the country. So I think if Underwood can get that there, he'll be very satisfied. And looking at some of those coaches that have gone on to quote unquote bigger, better things, Bill Self left for Kansas. That's a blue blood. Lon Kruger left for the NBA.
Yeah.
You don't turn down an NBA job.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's been like I'm trying to think of an example where someone left, like for Underwood, for example, Oklahoma State. That has a ceiling, and once you get to that ceiling or close to that ceiling, you feel free to move on to a different job. So I don't think that will happen. But you never know. You really don't know.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, we've obviously been burned. I feel like Illinois fans are mad at Bill Self. I've never been in that.
Why?
If he had left after he took Illinois to the Final Four, I would have been a little bit salty about it, just because I don't feel like Kansas would have been the stepping stone it was had he taken that team to a national title. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
But it was Kansas. He hadn't gotten to the Final Four with Illinois yet, so I'm not that mad about it. But with Underwood, we both agree here. I think it's safe to say he's going to be around for a while. And then the other question we had, which is non-sports related, just for fun. Alex, I know you're a DC Comics kind of guy.
Unfortunately.
But you don't like the movies like most people. Who do you think dies in Avengers Infinity War next week?
See, I really haven't caught up with all the stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't really know the whole story, but I hope Captain America dies because I don't like him.
Oh wow,
he's annoying.
That's strong.
I'm sorry, but he's just that stereotypical superhero that will say like eat your vegetables, drink your milk, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So, not a big fan of Captain America, but hopefully he passes away.
See, I like Tony Stark more than I like Captain America, but I like Captain America's movies more than I like Iron Man movies. So it's a very weird. It's a very weird dynamic I have between those two characters. But for me, who do I think will die in Infinity War? Vision, because he has an Infinity Stone in his forehead. So I don't think there's any way of getting around that. He's probably going to die and eat his face. It's going to be terrible. Other than that, though, I think Hawkeye might die. Captain America might die. The only ones who are safe, I think, are Black Panther, Spider-Man, and Doctor Strange, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah. They're not killing them.
Three that are safe. Yeah. Those are only three that are safe. But, yeah, we'll take any questions like that on this show, in this segment. And just feel free to DM us, tweet at us, whatever.
Slide.
Just slide in our DMs, ask us a question. We'll be sure to answer it on this segment. Remember to stay tuned in the next part of this podcast for our interview, our sit-down conversation with South Bend Tribune writer Kari Thompson about the Bears. Alex, the Illinois part's always been a pleasure. Guys, stick around. The interview's awesome. Kari's fantastic. And I think you guys really enjoy it.